And President Trump planned to sign several executive orders today, including an order that signaled his intention to end the Biden administration's electric vehicle policies.
Tesla has hit a rough patch lately, with its stock price and sales taking a serious nosedive. The company's stock keeps tumbling, partly due to the growing political backlash against Elon Musk. Meanwhile, fresh reports show that Tesla's car sales in Europe took a massive hit, dropping by 45% in January compared to the same month last year. For years, Tesla has been a trailblazer in the car industry, known for its cutting-edge technology and bold innovations. But now, the electric vehicle market is going through a major shakeup, and Tesla is feeling the heat. The ongoing trade wars between the US and Europe have delivered a heavy blow, with Donald Trump's tariffs nearly cutting Tesla's European sales in half. Even Germany, a global powerhouse in automotive and technology, has turned its back on Tesla, adding to the company's struggles. So, what's causing this downward spiral in Europe? And why is Musk, who has spent years dominating the industry with daring strategies, now seeing a major decline, especially in a key market like Germany? The shift happening in Europe may be bigger than just Tesla. Could these international trade disputes be driving a much larger transformation in the electric vehicle industry? As tensions grow between China, Europe, and the US, the effects on the EV market could be game-changing. The tariffs between the US and the European Union aren't just affecting diplomacy. They're hitting businesses hard, with US companies bearing the brunt of the impact. Tesla is one of the biggest casualties, and Elon Musk is keeping a close eye on the situation. The friction between Trump and the European Union has put Tesla in a tough spot, making it one of the biggest corporate victims of these trade policies. Remember when Trump first threatened a 25% tariff on the European Union, accusing it of taking advantage of the US? Things only escalated from there. In response to the EU's 50% tariff on American whiskey, Trump hit back by threatening a staggering 200% tariff on European alcohol, pushing the trade war even further. Over the years, Trump has hardened his stance against the EU, despite it being one of America's closest allies. Now we're seeing the fallout from those decisions. Musk has been watching all of this unfold while Tesla's stock takes a beating. After some ups and downs, the major US stock indices ended up in the red, with the S&P 500 nearing correction territory, almost 10% below its all-time high. The tech-heavy Nasdaq dropped by 1.4%, sinking over 14% from its February peak. Trump has long argued that America's massive trade deficit signals weakness, and while he admits his tariff policies could cause some economic turbulence, he believes they will ultimately strengthen the US economy. But that's probably little comfort to Musk. The ongoing trade conflicts between the US, Canada, Mexico, and the European Union have hammered Tesla's stock value and slashed its sales. Now the big question is, will this strain Musk's relationship with Trump? And as Tesla stumbles, which competitors are stepping in to take advantage? We're diving deep into Tesla's troubles to see how this shakeup is reshaping the EV market and what the future holds for the brand. Let's start with Tesla's pricing. The company, owned by Elon Musk, has its Model S long range listed at $79,790, while the high-performance, all-wheel drive Model S Plaid comes in at $88,490. The popular Model Y starts at $47,490 for the base version, $50,490 for the long range, and $54,490 for the performance variant. Meanwhile, the Model X long range is priced at $84,990, and the top-tier Plaid model sits at $94,990. Now, let's dive into the bigger picture. Tesla's shockingly low sales figures. Recent data shows that a growing number of European buyers are distancing themselves from Tesla, with some seemingly unhappy about Musk's close ties with Donald Trump and his attempts to influence US policy. This frustration has played out in the form of a major drop in Tesla's European sales. Adding fuel to the fire, anti-Musk ads, some even drawing controversial comparisons to Adolf Hitler, have popped up in the UK and other countries. The numbers tell the full story. In January, Tesla's new car sales across Europe nearly halved, plunging by 45% compared to the same month last year. According to the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, Tesla sold roughly 9,950 vehicles in Europe this January, down from just over 18,100 in January 2024. This sales collapse has also taken a toll on Tesla's stock price. After soaring to record highs following Trump's election victory, the company's market value has since tumbled back down, dropping below the $1 trillion mark. One of the hardest hit markets is Germany. Tesla's sales there fell by almost 60% in January compared to the previous year. Many potential buyers seem to have taken a stand with their wallets, especially after Musk allegedly meddled in Germany's federal elections. His vocal support for the far-right Alternative for Germany, AfD party, which surged to become the country's second most popular political force, appears to have backfired. In a survey of over 100,000 Germans, a staggering 94% said they would never buy a Tesla again. This is bad news for the company, which is already struggling in Europe. Things aren't looking much better when you zoom out. Tesla's European sales fell by nearly 50% in the first 2 months of 2025, with its German numbers sinking by a brutal 70%. While competition from an increasing number of EV models and anticipation for a refreshed Model Y certainly play a role, Musk's involvement in European politics and his public support for far-right movements are also significant factors. Germany isn't the only place where Tesla has suffered. Over in France, sales dropped by a staggering 63% in January. This came after Musk threw his support behind far-right groups in the country while taking aim at left-leaning politicians. However, while his political activism is undoubtedly controversial, it's hard to say how much of Tesla's financial troubles stem directly from it. Increased competition from rival EV manufacturers is also squeezing Tesla's sales. Meanwhile, in the UK, Tesla isn't exactly the crowd favorite anymore. January sales fell by 12% compared to the previous year, following Musk's criticism of Prime Minister Keir Starmer and his public support for a jailed far-right activist. The backlash against Musk only intensified after an activist group called Everybody Hates Elon launched an ad campaign featuring images of Musk making what appeared to be a Nazi-style salute at one of Trump's inauguration events. These posters were plastered across bus stops in the UK, further damaging Musk's and Tesla's reputation. Musk didn't exactly confirm or deny the meaning behind his hand gesture, but he wasted no time mocking the backlash on his social media platform. He dismissed the criticism, calling the "everyone is Hitler" attack unimaginative and dull. Meanwhile, a protest group took things a step further, plastering posters across cities with the phrase 0 to 1939 in 3 seconds over Musk's photo, a not-so-subtle jab referencing the start of World War II. All this controversy is only making Tesla's situation worse. Things have gotten so chaotic that even the company's headquarters is feeling the heat. Tesla's struggles aren't limited to Europe. Sales in the US are also on a downward spiral. In 2024, Tesla's sales in America dipped by 1% compared to the previous year, marking the company's first annual sales decline in 12 years. And while global EV sales rose by 7.3% during the same period, Tesla couldn't ride the wave. Wall Street analysts warn that Musk's political antics could push away longtime Tesla fans. Protests have even erupted at several Tesla dealerships in the US. A recent report by financial firm Wedbush highlighted concerns that Musk's obsession with Dogecoin and his growing alliance with Trump might further alienate consumers. Although this resistance has been growing in parts of Europe and the US since November, analysts still see it as a manageable issue, at least for now. However, if things escalate, Tesla could find itself in serious trouble. Tesla itself is now raising red flags about the impact of Trump's trade policies. The company is warning that Trump's escalating trade wars could make it a prime target for retaliatory tariffs, while also driving up production costs in the US. This concern is echoed by several other American companies struggling with Trump's aggressive trade stance. But coming from Tesla, run by Musk, a known Trump ally, it's particularly striking. In an unsigned letter dated March 11th and addressed to U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer, Tesla expressed deep concerns about the potential fallout of Trump's trade decisions. The company warned that if tariffs are raised, targeted countries will hit back, and U.S. exporters, including Tesla, will take the brunt of the damage. The timing of this letter is crucial, as uncertainty over trade policy has already rattled businesses and financial markets. Investors are increasingly nervous about the possibility of a U.S. economic slowdown. Despite Musk's close ties to Trump, Tesla is clearly worried about where this is all heading. The letter also urged the administration not to increase import costs for crucial materials like lithium and cobalt, both essential for EV production but scarce in the U.S. Tesla emphasized that while it tries to source as many materials domestically as possible, some components simply aren't available within the country. The letter was submitted as part of a government review, gathering feedback from businesses affected by trade policies. Interestingly, Tesla had made a similar appeal during Trump's first term, showing that this issue has been brewing for years. What's also curious is that no one at Tesla put their name on the letter. According to insiders, employees feared being fired for speaking out. This raises a big question. If Tesla's decline continues, could the once unshakable bond between Musk and Trump start to crack? So far, there's no sign of that happening. In fact, Trump is doing his best to prop up Tesla's struggling image. In a grand gesture of support, Trump has transformed the White House's South Lawn into a Tesla showroom. The company delivered 5 of its vehicles to the White House, lining them up for the president's personal inspection. This came just hours after Trump posted on Truth Social that he planned to buy a Tesla to show solidarity with Musk and his company. Standing beside Musk, Trump showered praise on Tesla's design, particularly the futuristic Cybertruck. Despite bashing EVs throughout his election campaign, he claimed he had heard good things about Teslas from friends. Pointing to a red Model S, Trump then climbed into the driver's seat with Musk beside him, casually announcing his intention to buy one. To avoid any ethical issues, he even made a point of saying he'd pay for it with a check. This kind of product endorsement from a sitting U.S. president is almost unheard of. Back in 2017, Trump's former advisor Kellyanne Conway got into hot water for telling Americans to buy Ivanka Trump's clothing line. She received an official ethics warning and vowed not to do it again. Yet here was Trump, turning Tesla into a headline-grabbing spectacle, with his deputy chief of staff Dan Scavino live-streaming the entire event on Musk's own social media platform. The White House has remained silent on whether this blatant promotion violates ethics rules, but criticism is mounting. Senator Chris Murphy was among those calling it out, sharing a video of Trump's Tesla ride with the caption, "Just because corruption is public doesn't mean it isn't corruption." In his first weeks back in office, Trump has noticeably shifted away from the populist rhetoric of his previous campaign, instead prioritizing the interests of his billionaire backers. Musk, in particular, has been at the forefront of efforts to cut thousands of middle-class federal jobs. Meanwhile, as uncertainty around Trump's policies shakes the stock market, many Americans are watching their retirement savings dwindle. Yet, instead of addressing these concerns, Trump has focused on supporting Musk, drawing heavy criticism at home. For Tesla, this alignment with Trump could prove disastrous. While the company offers a wide variety of products and services, available in an equally wide range of colors, its deeper entanglement in U.S. politics could continue dragging its stock down. It's unclear if Trump's flashy Tesla purchase will help boost investor confidence, but as long as tariffs and political controversies swirl around the company, further declines in sales and share value seem inevitable, especially in the European Union. If this trend continues, the seemingly strong relationship between Musk and Trump might not stay so stable after all. But while Tesla struggles, other players in the electric vehicle market are seizing the opportunity. Chief among them is China, which became the first country to sell over 1 million electric cars in a single month before the end of 2024. This milestone was reached in August 2024, marking a 33% jump in sales compared to the previous year. While the European EV market shrank by 3%, China's surged by 40%, largely thanks to a combination of government incentives and strategic policies. In North America, EV sales saw a modest 9% increase, primarily driven by consumer subsidies. Meanwhile, the UK's zero-emission vehicle, ZEV, mandate pushed manufacturers to ramp up sales of low-emission cars. However, the decision to cut EV subsidies in Germany had a devastating impact, sending shockwaves through the European market. If the US follows Germany's lead in removing incentives, it could put the American EV industry on a similar downward trajectory. By the end of 2024, the EU, EFTA, and UK markets had slipped by 3% year-over-year, despite selling more than 300,000 EV units in December. However, on a monthly basis, the European market saw a 24% rebound and a 12% increase compared to the previous year. The UK stood out as a bright spot, selling over 400,000 battery electric vehicles and surpassing Germany's year-to-date sales. Germany, on the other hand, experienced a significant drop in EV sales following the removal of subsidies. Yet, thanks to the ZEV mandate, the UK managed to increase its EV market by nearly 20%. Norway remains the world leader in EV penetration, with over 90% of passenger and light-duty vehicle sales being electric by the end of 2024. However, while Norway continues to set the standard for widespread EV adoption, it is China that is truly reshaping the global electric vehicle market. While the US and Europe saw mixed results in 2024, China's EV sector experienced rapid and sustained growth, with a 2% month-over-month increase in December and an impressive 36% year-over-year jump. This surge in demand helped China achieve an overall 40% market expansion for 2024, further solidifying its position as the dominant force in the EV industry. One of the key factors behind China's EV success has been the skyrocketing growth of plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, PHEVs, which saw an 81% increase in 2024. This is in stark contrast to the growth of battery electric vehicles, BEVs, which stood at just 19%. The increasing popularity of range-extending PHEVs has played a crucial role in China's continued dominance, offering an alternative to fully electric vehicles that appeal to consumers who are hesitant to rely entirely on battery power. While Western markets have yet to see this level of enthusiasm for PHEVs, China's approach demonstrates how hybrid solutions can help bridge the gap for consumers transitioning to fully electric transportation. At the same time, Tesla finds itself in an increasingly precarious position. The company, which was once seen as the undisputed leader in the global EV market, is now facing mounting challenges on multiple fronts. In Europe, Tesla's sales have plummeted due to political backlash against Elon Musk's affiliations and interventions, while in the US, the company's annual sales declined for the first time in 12 years. If the American market follows Germany's example and begins rolling back incentives for EV purchases, Tesla's struggles could worsen, leaving it even more vulnerable to growing competition from Chinese automakers. Adding to the uncertainty, Musk's political entanglements continue to generate controversy, further clouding the company's future. With consumers and investors alike paying close attention to how Tesla navigates these challenges, the next few years could determine whether it remains a dominant player or continues its downward trajectory. The Chinese EV market, on the other hand, has only grown stronger. The country's vehicle trade-in program, which was doubled in July 2024 and extended into 2025, has significantly contributed to the surge in EV sales. Coupled with aggressive government subsidies and policies favoring domestic manufacturers, these initiatives have helped China set record-breaking sales figures. At the forefront of this expansion is BYD, which has emerged as China's leading EV manufacturer. In 2024, more than one-third of all new EVs sold in China were BYD models, an impressive feat that showcases the company's rapid rise to dominance. With over 40 unique models spanning 4 different EV sub-brands, BYD has successfully positioned itself as a global automotive powerhouse, surpassing many of its Western rivals in both production scale and consumer adoption. Now, BYD is preparing to take its dominance beyond China's borders. In an effort to expand its influence in Europe, the company is set to begin production at its new Hungarian plant in 2025. This move is particularly strategic, as it will allow BYD to navigate the European Union's tariffs on Chinese-made BEVs by producing vehicles directly within the region. While Tesla continues to grapple with political and economic turbulence, BYD and other Chinese automakers are seizing the opportunity to strengthen their presence in global markets. With the European EV market experiencing fluctuations due to subsidy cuts in countries like Germany, Chinese automakers are well positioned to fill the gaps left by Tesla and other struggling Western brands. Looking at the bigger picture, it is clear that Donald Trump's aggressive trade policies, targeting the European Union, Canada, and Mexico, haven't just negatively impacted Tesla, but have also played a key role in China's rapid ascent in the EV sector. As Tesla loses ground in both the US and Europe, China continues to expand its lead, cementing itself as the global frontrunner in electric vehicle production and sales. If the US maintains its current stance and fails to adapt to these shifts in the market, Tesla's decline could accelerate, opening the door even wider for Chinese automakers to dominate the global EV landscape. However, the implications of Tesla's struggles go far beyond just the company itself, or even the electric vehicle industry.